Good morning.
Good morning.
You are doing very well.
Yes, we are.
We can feel your refreshment.
Yes. You knew I was going to ask a question, didn't you? Well, you told us all.
Your vibrations are very clear.
Oh, well, you'd want to. Should be okay. Famous last words.
You have another?
Yes, something of another, yes. I can do that. Hold on. Why, I say I have something of another because it might have something on it also, but I can do a lot of patchwork when we get home and make all this come out like a real tape. Because I know that all I need is 20 more minutes on that side. Can you be patient for a minute? One of these days I'm going to make you laugh. Let's keep this up. Abraham has never laughed. They're the closest thing to no fun that I know of. Still can't do it, huh?
You are wanting this on?
Yeah, why not? Okay.
Laughter is about contrast more than anything. That is the reason you laugh heartily and cry heartily.
Mm.
And it is not that we do not find humor, but we do not find the contrast that you do. So most of what you would call humor comes out of surprise. And when you know everything, then the element of surprise is lost.
That's true. All right. It must be boring there. I'm getting closer.
It would be to you, in your limited perception.
Okay. So anyway, I have a very serious question.
We can feel it coming.
Sure.
That contrast should be interesting.
No, this will not be humorous, but in light of the things that were discussed, it's interesting to me. That's the reason I wanted to get it off my chest.
We will take you seriously now.
Thank you. Okay. So, when I was a teenager, I was a
It may upset you when this makes us laugh.
That would. When I was a teenager, I worked as a lifeguard at Pontchartrain Beach in New Orleans, and one time, like a tidal wave, of course, came in out there and washed a lot of people. They weren't in the area they were supposed to be. You know, they weren't in the area that I guarded. They were in an area out by the seawall where people fished and all that, and so a bunch of folks were drowning and drowned and all that, and they put a rope on me, and I dove underneath the seawall and fished bodies out and brought them out, and up and tried to bring them back to life, artificial stuff. And then years later, all through the years after that, I would have interims that I sensed death. And there would be this strange odor around, and I would equate it with death, and it would come in places that there shouldn't be a feeling of death because everybody's having fun, and it just didn't make sense. And then one night I was in a gym, and that's when we used to all slick our hair back, and somebody gave me a bottle of wild root cream oil, and I smelled that, and I realized that's what it was. This sailor, one of the sailors that I fished out from under the seawall, that was dead, had his hair cream. He was wearing wild root cream oil, but I wasn't aware that what was being triggered. And I'll do one more thing because I'm trying to make a point here or clarify something. So I was visiting my grandfather and one of his later wives, and one time for dinner and lunch or whatever, and we're sitting there, and he says, "Irma, pass Jerry the green beans." And I said, "Oh, no, thank you. And I'll just have more mashed potatoes." And he said, "Oh, no, Irma cooks the best green beans in the world." I said, "Oh, yeah, thanks. But no, I'll just have some more mashed potatoes." And I'm trying not to say I don't like it or anything. And he said, "Don't you like green beans?" I said, "That's the only thing in the world I won't eat." I said, "I'll eat anything you put in front of me, but except green beans." And I said, "I just don't like green beans." And he says, "Do you know why you don't like green beans?" And I said, "No." He said, "When you were about 3 years old," he said, "your mother there in San Diego read an article that said green beans had everything in it that a human body needed. All the vitamins and the minerals and the roughage," or whatever they talked about in those days. And so she fed you green beans for breakfast, and you used to get green beans for lunch, and then for dinner she'd cook up a nice mess of green beans, and the next morning she'd mash you some green beans for breakfast, and then for lunch she'd chop up some green beans, and dinner she'd have a nice broiled green beans. And he says, that's why you hate green beans. I thought, I didn't know that. And so after that, from that day on, I loved green beans. And so I don't even know the question for sure.
Next.
No, wait a minute. There is a question in that, though. There is a question in, are there not aversions that we have that prevent us from doing things that could be joyous or pleasant to us? They're not beliefs as such, because we don't have any beliefs, or are they beliefs? Are they not just sensations or feelings that we have relative to something we smell, or we touch, or we see, or we taste? But we have no idea why we're having this response. But it has a reality back there. And although you say don't look for the cause in things, I just like you to, I don't have a good solid question on this, but I think it relates to a lot of things that came up early yesterday morning, and I'd like you to just play that out a little for us. Thank you.
Your earlier question.
Thank you.
A belief is a thought that you keep thinking. When you think in terms of thought, most of you think in terms of words or communication. In other words, most of you associate the word thought with a word or with a means of communication. Instead of using the word thought, if you will use the word energy or vibration, then that takes it out of the realm of communicating and into the realm of vibrating. And then you can begin to understand that, yes, there is cellular thought, even though your cells are not speaking your language to each other, they certainly are speaking to each other. And so, if a thought or a belief is a thought that you have thought and that you keep thinking, then certainly there are cellular beliefs. There are subliminal beliefs. There are unconscious beliefs. In other words, as physical beings, you are very much wanting to pigeonhole and catalog and categorize everything. And so you say, well, there is the subconscious or the unconscious, and there is the conscious. In other words, you are wanting to label all of these levels of consciousness. And we say, it is helpful to acknowledge that there are many levels of consciousness. It is helpful to acknowledge that your consciousness goes all the way from something that you can articulate perfectly to something that you just know that you can't speak about to something that you are feeling. And really, our entire effort as we have been interacting with you as physical creatures is to assist you in beginning to understand your ability to create more from your feeling vibrational level rather than from your thinking, speaking, offering of word level, because your words keep confusing you. To be quite clear about it, in many cases you are hiding behind words and behavior, or words and action. You say and do one thing while you're vibrating another, and that is where almost all of the confusion that physical man lives comes from, is because he believes that his words and action are what are making it happen, when in reality it is a vibration. And that's why we keep trying to bring you back to a feeling place. Now let's take your example of having something that is affecting you. You don't know why. You're feeling something in a particular moment, a dislike for something, let us say as in the green beans.
And could it also be a like for something?
Certainly.
Okay, well, let's go with the dislike. I like that better.
We will give you an example of something on the other side of it. When Esther sat for her first days of meditation, she felt a feeling of energy flowing. And in the moment of her first feeling that, she remembered and said right out loud, I have felt this when I was a child. She too associated that feeling with death. She also associated it with the bathroom, with the porcelain around the tub. Now what that feeling was the feeling of a quieted mind and non-physical energy flowing through. In other words, let us back up a little bit here, and then we will come right back to your offering. The reason that we teach meditation as a process to bring you into vibrational alignment with your inner being is because we have learned through interacting with you that it is easier to teach most physical beings to have no thought than to have pure positive thought. When you meditate, you quiet your mind. When you quiet your mind, you are not offering thought transmission. And when you are not offering thought transmission, you're not offering negative thought transmission. And when you are not offering negative thought transmission, then you can be full of that which you are. In other words, there's no resistance. You are every bit as much connected to your non-physical counterpart, to the non-physical energy, to the pure positive energy that is you, when you are appreciating, when you are loving, when you are praising, when you are basking. In other words, you don't have to be in a state of a quieted mind to be connected. The only thing you must be to be connected is in a place where there is not lack present in your vibration. So as Esther was in the bathroom with the door closed, with no interference or influence coming from outside, that was the time, even when she was a wee little girl, that she would have her strongest communication or that feeling. So that is another cellular memory that she recognized again once she felt it again. And there are many on the positive side of it. Now let's go back to this feeling of a dislike for green beans. Mm-hmm. There are many who would say, in order to understand who you are, or why you are standing where you are standing, that you must get back into your past lives, or the past aspects of this life, and relive all of it in order to understand how all of that fits together with where you are now. And we have never met any of you that could even come close to that unraveling. You cannot consciously acknowledge that much vibrational interaction. It is beyond your ability to conclude. And it always leads you off on wild goose chases. But if in your moment of feeling discomfort about something, you stop and say, I'm feeling discomfort about something. My guidance system is pointing right out a window of opportunity where I can clear up some energy, where I can transmute some negative energy. What's bothering me about this? I don't want to eat these green beans. Why don't I want to eat these green beans? Because eating these green beans does not make me feel good. I want to spit them out. I don't want them in my mouth. And then in that moment of keen awareness of what you do not want, you identify what you do want. Well, I'm wanting to eat things that taste good. I'm wanting to eat things that make me feel good. I'm wanting to eat things that are healthy. As you transmute that energy so that you are no longer pushing against green beans, no longer pushing against one thing, but letting that one thing help you identify a deeper thing that is more important, as you transmute that energy, you would have the same effect. You would find yourself no longer feeling a repulsion to green beans. In other words, you don't have to have some mental conscious tie-in. You can do it vibrationally. And that is really what the point of our message has been with you here this weekend. Most of you work too hard at standing where you are standing. And what is so difficult about standing where you are standing and acknowledging what you want from where you stand? What makes you believe that you must go back into so much of your past to justify where you stand? What brings that out in you? It is other lackful beings who criticize where you stand, who say to you, I don't like where you stand. You should not be standing there, and then you go into this whole barrage of explaining or justifying or defending why you're standing where you are standing.